The following episode has been edited to comply with YouTube community guidelines. If you would like to see the full, unedited, uncensored version of this video, head over to my Rumble channel. The link will be in the description. Take care.
This Mpox monkey virus nonsense is coming in, and that whistleblower proves that you can't catch a virus; it has to be put into you, right? This is the big con about viruses.
Hello everybody and welcome to the first episode of Man on the Run. I'm Digby Furneaux, and joining me as my very special guest today is none other than Mark Atwood. Mark, how are you doing?
Well, what an honour to be your first guest.
It's a bit of deja vu here. I remember you being on my other show not so long ago. It's good to have you back.
Well, it's good to see you doing your own thing, and good luck with this. It's a great journey.
I'm really looking forward to it. And, the other show was great and I loved it. But everything that I want to talk about on this show is going to draw attention to that show that maybe Tom doesn't want. So I thought it best to separate the two out. But Tom and I are going to still be working together in the background. So, Mark, let's get straight to it, because the words that are flying around at the moment are spiritual warfare. Everybody's using them. Calvin Robinson the other day was tweeting about spiritual warfare. Loads of other people tweeting about it. And I don't think a lot of people actually know what spiritual warfare means. So to you, what does spiritual warfare mean?
I haven't got a clue. All right, no, it's interesting because it's good to see people catching up, because that's what it is. That's what all of this is, and that's why people can't make sense of it. The world. I mean, where do you start with this? We got born into this war. This war's been going on a very, very long time. In fact, we've probably been here multiple times, maybe millions of times in this. And there's lots of different interpretations. Some people say this has been going on for I don't know, 500 million years. Some people say that it's and I don't do the facts and figures thing because I can't prove it. So everything I do is based on intuition. And when COVID hit, it was really, for me, it was a massive spiritual calling to start talking about it, at least, and try to get to the bottom of it. And that's really kind of my mission. And that was following a lifetime of weirdness and weird spiritual experiences, like demons come into my bedroom when I was 3 years old. That sort of seemed to me where it started, and loads of out-of-body experiences and loads of visions and psychic stuff, and meeting Satan, seeing loads of UFOs. I mean, it's just it's a spiritual fucking war. What do you want to know?
It's crazy as well, because you said that you got into this during COVID, at the beginning of COVID 2020. I remember you telling me you got your son with a camera and just said, record me, and you started. And it feels like we're going full circle again now with the new Mpox bullshit that's coming out. And I wonder how it's going to play out this time. I mean, I think that there are a lot of people that are awake now, like you and me, but I think that there's still quite a lot of people that are going to go along with this crazy shit.
Yeah, well, it's a constant demonic push for a takeover that we're up against, and I do think we're in fourth density right now, which is where they live, which is why we're seeing them, which is why you've got more obvious satanic rituals going on at the Olympics and the Eurovision, and the Super Bowl. All of these things are very obvious now. But the good news about all of that is that because we can see them more, that's why more people are talking about it being a spiritual war, because they're also having deeply profound individual experiences, which compel people to start being open about discussing what this is really about, because it's on many levels, everything that's been shown to us has not really changed. It's just that it's more apparent. And what is also more apparent is that every day, every second of your life, you're being presented with, you're going to go this way or this way, this way or this way, and it's a constant choice. And the vaccine was like the biggest example of like, it's your choice. Even though people were
Mm.
coerced into it, it was a choice. And how anybody could choose to inject themselves with something, whether even the person putting the needle in their arm had not read the ingredients, it's just staggers me. But this is where we're at. And where it gets even more interesting is, like, I think I opened a healing center
Yeah.
a year ago, and I was speaking to somebody the other day who'd had 3 vaxes in one day, and they leaned over and went, I think and they'd been debilitated, massively debilitated, couldn't move for a couple of weeks, and finally got the strength to come in, and they said, I think it was the jabs, and I'm like, yeah, of course it was the jabs. uh, but the strange thing about it was there was no
Yeah.
anger there. And people are realizing that, I know we're talking about spiritual war, but COVID is a
Yeah.
massive part of that. Um, the interesting thing is that even though they know the people, this is anecdotal. What I'm saying is, but a lot of people that I've seen know that the jabs are causing massive health problems for them, but they haven't put 2 and 2 together that it was done
Mm.
deliberately, and they're not angry. And this is the thing that I don't get. They're not angry, because that's what we need the human race to be, to realize that they're being murdered. We are being murdered.
It's a funny one, and going back to the
Uh,
spiritual warfare side of it, I spoke to you last week because I had started being more vocal on Twitter about things that I believe in as I decided to step away from the previous show, and I messaged you, and I was surprised at the amount of attacks I was getting, and they didn't even have a
oh yeah,
reason for it, and nothing that I was saying was completely out there, nothing I was saying was something that a million other people haven't said before, but it was like an NPC in a computer program, and they were pre-programmed to just assault me. And I had another one the other night. I woke up to a message from one of my best friends at 5 o'clock in the morning, and he just went on a 6-page rant calling me all the names under the sun. And he's not even seen anything that I've posted. And I was just like, I keep having this sort of rinse and repeat series now. I get attacked, more people come to me afterwards. I get attacked, more people come towards me afterwards. And I'm really starting to see the pattern that you're tested. And then it's how you deal with it, how you come stronger out the other side. And I think I'm very much sort of in that process at the moment.
well, I said a minute ago, it's a personal
Mm,
journey. Ultimately, it's good to find people that are sharing aspects of it with you, so that you know that you are okay. Because the bottom line is, we are an incredibly powerful species. We are made up of 22, I think, is the number that keeps popping up. Different types of species. We've got a connection to source, which they're all jealous of. There's an entire demonic empire out there in the astral world, the fourth density, lower fourth density, that their whole modus operandi is to just cause misery to us and feed off our loosh. And our loosh is generated by negative emotions like fear and guilt and shame and all of those types of bad things. And they've created this kind of prison for us, which is the main instrument of our enslavement is money, especially money
yeah,
based
of
on
course.
nothing, and they've got us on this hamster wheel. And this is an ascension process. I think the earth itself has been stuck for hundreds of millions of years, and we are ascending at the same time as the earth. That's my feeling, based upon my intuition, visions, but also lots and lots of years and years of research. I mean, I've been waking up to all of this since I left the RAF over 35 years ago. And it was a slow process at the beginning, but then it just accelerated, especially with 9/11. That was a massive wake up for a lot of people. And that really accelerated things for me, especially as I lost a friend in 9/11. Um, and then, unpicking or having all of these things revealed to you. I mean, even this morning, I think I was reading Kim.com on Twitter, who's a notorious hacker. I'm not saying whether I agree with Kim or not, but he was talking about the protocols of the Elders of Zion, the Learned Elders of Zion, which is something I read in 1999, I think. And everybody should go and read it. And if you can't be bothered reading it, go and look up Janet Osbard's full Cabal series and find the video on the protocols of the Elders of Zion, because then you'll see that this is all kind of planned out. This whole destruction of humanity was planned. Well, not full destruction, because they wanted to keep 500 million of us as kind of human 2.0, transhuman androids, slaves, because they still need us. They need us more than we need them, but they don't like us awakening to our true power. So lots of things have happened within this paradigm, such as, we apparently, according to the scientists, the experts, 97% of our DNA is junk. And I would say it's not junk, it's just been sort of deactivated, but it's activating. And because it's activating, they're trying to stop it, because otherwise they lose. It's like when all the chickens in Chicken Run learn to fly. What are you going to do? They just fly away. I think that's where we're at. Is the chickens are learning how to fly, and they're trying to clip our wings.
I think
on
there's
the way
no
out.
doubt that this WEF agenda, this 2030 goal that they seem to be working towards, is just nothing but pure evil. I saw something that I think it was Jim Ferguson posted yesterday, that a whistleblower had contacted him. Have you seen this? From the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He's checked out his background apparently, although.
Sorry, the Bill and Kevin Klein Foundation.
And he's come forward to Jim as a whistleblower. Doesn't want to say his name yet, which is dubious, but let's go with it for now until we're proven wrong.
You can't actually catch them, but I think it's to do with timelines, and there are timelines that people are being given the choice to choose, and you either, I remember Bill Hicks in the 80s saying, or the 90s, whenever I can't remember when he died, but it was the 90s he died, but he said it's a choice between fear and love, and it always has been. It's always been a choice between this frequency and this frequency, and what we're being presented with is multiple options of timelines to live down. And the key thing to all of this is to remember, in my opinion, is to remember that you are an eternal spirit having a human experience. And that we are the creators. We are fractals of the creator, the source creator. And because of that, they're terrified of us, not the other way around. The issue we've got is getting together and knowing how to fight this. But the fight is really in here, because this is how we connect to the universe, because the universe is within us. So all the fear about chemtrails and UN soldiers and more vaccines and lockdowns can have multiple interpretations. I interviewed a medium called Gali Lucy from Israel a number of times. She's been saying for the last 4 years at least, yes, there will be another lockdown in 2024. And this lockdown is necessary because it's part of the cleanup operation. Now, that's one timeline that is the optimistic one, that is based upon the idea that people are starting to realize there is this great big cabal, this Khazarian, Phoenician, ancient, evil that hates humanity, that always had a plan to destroy humanity multiple times by the looks of it. I'm reading somewhere it's like our 24th attempt at Ascension, but this time it's going to work. We failed every other time. You can read this kind of stuff all day long, but ultimately it comes down to your connection to source. And that timeline is based upon, if there is this big evil organization in the world, is it illogical to assume that there is good in the world? Because evil always has to have a counterpart. And that's where a lot of the stuff about the alliance, the white hats, Q, all of that kind of stuff is along these lines, that powerful people assisted by galactics, for want of a better term, have been trying to undo that stuff at the same time. So, are we watching something where, COVID was definitely intended to kill billions of people? Has it succeeded? Well, we don't know because it's still a ticking time bomb, but it's certainly increased. The vaccine itself has certainly increased excess deaths worldwide and introduced horrific things like turbo cancers to children and myocarditis and all sorts of horrific illnesses. You know, it's just every one of us knows somebody that's not well because of it, at least. And has it killed them yet? Or will it? This is the other thing. It's very much a spiritual war in that respect because. And it really comes down to your viewpoint on this. You could listen to something like what you just said and go, "Oh my God, we're all doomed. We're all doomed." And maybe we are. Maybe we are. Maybe we're supposed to. Maybe we failed. But I don't think so. I think that a lot of that is fear mongering, and fear is the thing that the demonic realm eats. It's their food. If you've got anybody generating fear, then well done. You've just fed all the demons, made them stronger. Thanks very much. And, there's a lot of us that are trying to fight against these principalities of darkness, as is referred to in the armor of God. Ephesians, I can't remember how to say it. In the Bible, anyway. And the principalities of darkness are real. And my quest is really to find out, well, who exactly are they? And how do we defeat them? Well, we defeat them by not living in fear and by laughing as much as we can. And believe me, that is very, very powerful. And praying, which is extremely powerful. But being careful about who we pray to, because one of the greatest things about the last 4 years has been that millions and millions of people have had to question everything about their reality. When I had my suicidal episode, maybe 7 years ago, I cannot remember the exact date, because time doesn't mean anything anymore to me. But I was told, you've got to let everything go. And letting go, I used to think I understood it as a Taoist principle 10, 12, 15 years ago. I used to put memes out about letting go, but I didn't really get it. And I asked God, basically, I said, well, everything? Yeah, everything. What, including my children? Yeah, everything. And I was like, whoa, this is deep. And look what's happening, though. In the last 4 years especially, there were people before us that knew this was coming anyway, but in the last 4 years especially, we've seen millions of people starting to question governments, the legal system, the medical system, what they're eating, what they're drinking. We've been poisoned from top to bottom. It's a full spectrum dominance attack on the human race, and it's just being revealed, and they're pushing towards, and there appears to be like a time scale to this, such as Agenda 21, Agenda 30, the Project for the New American Century, which was scuppered, which we have to remember is a very positive thing, because in the Project for the New American Century, Clinton was supposed to win in 2016, and we were supposed to be in nuclear war by 2017. And, all those FEMA camps, concentration camps, guillotines ordered by Obama, hundreds of thousands of them, maybe millions, that hasn't transpired. So there's a lot actually to be positive about. But whether you believe, I think a lot of it comes down to how sovereign you are as an individual. And by sovereign, it simply means that you are in control of your thoughts, your emotions, your spirituality, your food, as much as you possibly can be. I mean, not every one of us can be completely self-sufficient in this world. I mean, although I homeschooled my kids for 3.5 years, I've not been able to do that since I moved back to Ireland. And I'm very glad that 2 of them are out of the school system, but 3 of them are still in it. And for me, that's one of the compromises I've had to make whilst being on this journey myself. I don't keep my own chickens, but I do know where to get eggs from. I do know people that can give me good eggs. It's every step you take towards it and nobody's got it 100% correct. And I don't think the answer is living in a caravan in a field.
Hang
somewhere.
on, I'm just about to do that, Mark.
I know, that's why I said it. You're not just doing that. I mean, if that living as independently as you can, as sovereign, is a fantastic thing to do. But it's not the answer for rebuilding society, right? We're not. I don't think we're going to go back to, being tribes in villages in mud huts. I don't think that's going to happen. The technology that we have is here, and we need to utilize it. And a lot of technology has been hidden from us as well. So There's a very long-winded answer to your question, but it's ultimately it's down
Yeah,
to you, and it's down to your connection to source. So all the bits of information that are out there are there for you because you're the only
yeah,
person here. So from that respect, I think it's a soul school, and that we're trying to graduate because the human race is like an adolescent teenager that needs to become an adult, and when we've got to go through these growing pains, and we're also healing. And I think that a lot of the stuff that we're seeing in terms of wars and all of that kind of stuff is the pain that you go through when you're healing through
yeah.
an illness, and things are
I
being
think it is
purged.
really easy for the public to panic about all this stuff, and I completely get that. And I'll be honest, as you know, Mark, when COVID came around, I had a pub at the time. I had two vaccines, which I now heavily regret. But it's easy to fear people into doing things, and I think there are people that will do it again. But as I've gone through my journey, as I've spoken to, lucky enough to speak to people like yourself and others, and sort of developed over the last couple of years, you kind of lose that fear, right? It's like if I died from something tomorrow, I don't know if I'm actually afraid of it anymore because my belief system now tells me that it doesn't really matter because there's more after it. So I don't fear that as much, certainly, as I used to. But there are a lot of people out there that are, and that's what's happening now in the UK, isn't it? They're using fear. They're splitting the two sides of the country apart, left versus right. They're making everybody extreme. You're not left or right anymore. You're a far right thug or an extreme left woke idiot. But they're turning everybody against each other, and that's the spiritual warfare part of this, isn't it? Is that they're actually trying to get people to actually literally uprise, and it's atrocious to see. And I'm doing an interview later on today with Redacted about what's going on in the UK and what my thoughts are about it, and I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity. But it's shocking to see, especially from far away, watching it from where I am in Morocco at the moment and seeing this happen to my home country. It is difficult, but you can just see. I mean, the plan now is so obvious. It's right there in front of everybody. Like, you must be blind not to see it at this point, I think.
Yeah, well, most people still are, and maybe that's why it's more is required. Um, it is blatantly obvious, but some of us saw it a long time ago. But that's why it's important that you're doing what you're doing, because you you did it. You had the jabs, and now you've seen through it, and that people need to hear that too. I mean, during although some of us stood up at the beginning and said, "Please don't take the jabs; it's poison." Most of us didn't want to. Most people didn't want to hear us. They just were too scared. I mean, when you've got a population in fear, they can't hear anything. They're super easy to control. But I do get told what to do from above, my higher self, God, whatever. And I got told to make a video about the vaccinated about a year and a half ago on
Yeah,
Twitter, and it's had about like 1.5 million views now. And that was just, and I don't care. It's not about me. It was about the fact that okay, we didn't get vaccinated. We tried to tell you, but it's like we're here for you, because we've got to
yeah,
unite, and we can't let the vaccine be another thing that makes us go into different camps. Because at the time there were people saying we're not unvaccinated, we're pure bloods, and
yeah,
no, that's exactly the same divide and conquer thing as before. And we've got to be very, very wary of all of these limited hangouts, these cul-de-sacs that we get sucked into. And fear does that to us. It pulls us into cul-de-sacs, and also looking for a leader outside of yourself also pulls you into cul-de-sacs. And that's the demonic realm has achieved their goals, because then they've stunted you. You know, in the truth movement world, there's a lot of talk about technologies like med beds,
yeah,
for example. And for those that don't know, med beds are supposed to be this space age technology that can reverse your age and heal everything and grow new limbs and everything else. It sounds fabulous, but if you're waiting for a med bed, then you've frozen. You're like a rabbit in headlights. So what are you going to do about it today? What have we got? I'm all about pragmatism. What have we got in front of us right now? Well, firstly, we've got tons of esoteric knowledge and technologies around us, like crystals, for example, that we literally hardly know anything about. But our forebears did know a lot about these things, and we should be looking into that and then applying what we know, and not waiting for somebody to come over the hill and just solve all our problems, because it's all down to us individually, firstly, and then when that happens through what I call frequency matching, like you going with those other families and creating a commune, for want of a better term, you then start building the world that you want, and that's really important that people do that. The issue is that we've got these tyrants, or apparently we have these tyrants. Now, are they, like demons, right? And this is controversial, but demons themselves are actually doing you a favor in life, because there's nothing new under God's creation. Everything is under source creation, or creator's creation. So demons are part of creation as much as you and me are, and their job really is to challenge you, make you stumble, make you addicted to things, kill you if they can, in order for you to become the soul that you wanted to be, because you chose to be here in the first place, because you're a fractal of God who got bored with what was there before all of this. There's that aspect to it. But in the middle of all of it, I'm not here as a guru, and nobody is, right? I'm blatantly not one, but and beware of anybody that says that they are, because ultimately, I think this is all an individual journey, that we're all going through on a collective basis. If
Yeah,
that
it
makes sense.
absolutely does. But what's really good, I mean, you say you're not a guru, and I respect that. I don't think you are either. You're just a great bloke, but you have the ability to talk very, very well about. You're very knowledgeable about what you talk about, and that is actually very helpful for when people are questioning what's right and what's not right. I remember when the lockdown first happened, and everybody was talking about vaccines and COVID. My impression of anybody who thought that it was BS, or that the vaccines weren't good for you, were all these people going around saying you catch COVID from 5G, and it was all these snippets of bits of information, with people repeating stuff that they'd heard third, fourth hand, which didn't have all the knowledge behind it to back it up. So it just gets thrown off as being that person's crazy. And I used to think that. I mean, I'll put my hand up. I used to think that. But since going on this journey and doing the other show and opening myself up to lots of different types of people with lots of different belief systems, I started putting the pieces together and going, actually, there is something here. But, the world needs coherent speakers that can educate people. And I think there's a lot more of those coming out now, like yourself.
Well, yeah, it's funny you say that, because a year into my podcast, and my career before that was like teaching internet marketing for 15, 20 years. And I got told, make a course, teach people how to do that. And I was like, what? We're in the middle of a pandemic. And I got nagged to do it. I get nagged a lot to do these things. And I said, I'd put up a video, say, look, I'm going to do this course teaching people how to speak out, how to monetize what's already in the head, is what I called it. And it was just showing that you every single one of us has a story to tell, and life experiences that somebody else will find valuable or interesting, and we should share those things. And there's ways of monetizing that. Now, at the time, I thought it was about teaching people how to be more financially sovereign, because one of the other control instruments, especially living in a place like Ireland, is the handouts that the government gives. So they create this codependency on the state, and during COVID, people were taking furlough payments, and they're taking all this money from the government, and they sold their souls. They entered a contract with the demons that meant they became dependent upon them. So I thought it was about creating independence in that respect, because I'm a big proponent that while we're in a financial system, part of sovereignty is financial
Mhm.
sovereignty. So you've got to generate multiple streams of income. But it was only when I started teaching the course that I realized, oh no, the reason I got told to make it is because I was showing people, or I was trying to show people, the importance of finding the courage to speak your truth, because speaking truth is something that we're not very good at. Like, we get it bashed out of us at school. Little kids can tell you nothing
Yeah,
but the
quite.
truth. Up until they're about 7 years old, when they've been indoctrinated enough, and it's been bashed out of them by parents, religion, the school system, whatever. But every child born on this earth is a genius, and then it just gets taken out of them, and they'll tell you the truth. The kids, you learn more from kids than
Yeah,
anybody
agreed.
else, because everybody else is for the rest of your life, you're just bullshitting, and that's the problem. And that's why you just that's what I realized. I was like, I had hundreds of people on this course, and I was triggering them, and I was like, why are they getting triggered? I'm not a very nice teacher. I'm kind of hardcore, It's like, you come on, keep up with the program. Why don't you understand that? I'm not the best. I'm not everybody's cup of tea when it comes to being a teacher. But I was like, why am I triggering them? Because when you have to break down belief systems, and that's what all of this is going on. The letting go is letting go of history. It's letting go of what we think we understand about the nature of reality, the shape of the earth, what the sun really is, what food is good for you. I mean, I've had to unpick and let go of so many ideas myself, and I'm still working on that. That's the thing. We've got to let go of every single notion that we've all collectively agreed to. I studied economics for 5 years, and nobody ever talked about the fractional reserve banking system. This is 35 years ago. And when I found out about it, thanks to the work of G. Edward Griffith, might have got that wrong, the creature from Jekyll Island, once you understand the fractional reserve banking system, then you get pretty angry. Well, you should do if you understand it, because it's
Yeah.
all a scam, everything's a fucking scam. And then you think, well, hang on, there's people committing suicide because they're 3 months behind on their
Yep.
mortgage payments. What? That's the craziness of this system, that we've all been born into in a satanic ritual, often, especially in the West. The Western. I'm interviewing Janice Barcelo later. She taught me about the satanic ritualistic nature of the birthing system in and of itself, right? Quite a few years ago. And her work's amazing. Once you understand that they've got you right from the beginning, and also they know who you are before you come in. I've had this image in my head of like looking down on the earth, and there's just been like this cloud, and then all these bright lights start popping up. And as soon as the bright lights pop up, which is basically somebody's consciousness getting up to a higher frequency and above the
Mm.
clouds, which is what I think's happened to you. There's like a automated system, right? Go and get him, and then they come at you, and it manifests into
Yeah.
3D in so many different ways. It could just be trolls on Twitter. It could be your best friend turning against you. It could be your mother
All
hating
the
you. It
above, I
could
think,
be,
at the moment.
all
I think it is.
well, they'll come at you for whatever way because they want to
Yeah.
destabilize you, and then they'll whisper in your ear, "Go and have a drink. Go and take some cocaine. Go and do this. Go and fuck that bird." Blah blah blah. And then suddenly you've got your whole world's turned upside down, and you're coming out the other end of it going, What happened? What just happened?" Well, that's the demons. That's what they do. That's their job.
Yeah.
And they don't want you. They don't want you vibrating at a high frequency, because then you'll realize how powerful you are. But the thing is, if enough of us vibrate at a higher frequency, there's nothing they can do, because they can't feed off us once you lose fear, as you just said. And losing that fear is key. And the biggest trick they've played on us is to convince us that life is finite and that you die, and that dying's horrible and it's painful and it's miserable. And well, it is in a lot of cases, because they've made us so sick,
Yeah.
toxic, full of information, full of dis-ease, that we've all accepted that, oh no, it's my knees are going because I'm getting old, and this is happening, and like, my eyesight's going because I'm getting, no, it's all because they've poisoned you to make you, just slow you down, so that as you get old enough and wise enough to work their bullshit out,
Yeah.
it's too late. You've already got cancer, you've already got Alzheimer's, dementia. Bye bye. See you later.
Yeah.
And that's that's what they do. It's a farm. We live on a farm, like I said, with Chicken Run, and we're breaking out. That's I'm an apocalyptimist. I just, however horrific it looks, and it does, and I know people have died. I'm not being glib. I know the people, horrific things are going on worldwide. Always have been. I know that we're going to be okay.
Now, you say apocalyptimist. That's easy for you to say. Now, I think the apocalypse is something that's sort of misunderstood by a lot of people, the name, the term. So, what
Yeah.
does the apocalypse mean to you?
Well, in Greek, it just means the great revealing of secrets. So the apocalypse is not the end of the world; it's just a revealing of secrets. And Optimus,
Well,
well,
yes,
that's
no, I get that.
self-explanatory.
But it's interesting though, isn't it? Because everybody
So,
just assumes that the apocalypse is literally the end of the world, but it could be as simply as the end of an old world and the beginning of a new one, in whatever way, shape, or form.
well, Armageddon means then Armageddon and apocalypse often get swapped out. Armageddon's the end of the world, I think, but yeah, I mean the Mayan calendar was ended in 2012, and I think everything did probably shift then. Um, there are people that think we all died then and we're just living in a dream, but there are people that say that this is a dream anyway. It's in row, row, row your boat. Life is but a dream. It's not a new
Yeah,
idea, and that this is a hologram. And I think it is the Matrix. It is a hologram because if you look at Keir Starmer or people like that right now, it is or Kamala Harris.
yeah.
It is like the whole Matrix is just like it's like it's breaking down and it doesn't know what program to go to next, and it's just let's keep going, let's double down on this bullshit, and we've run out of characters now. What are we going to do? But the ultimate effect of that is that it's got people up on the streets. It's got people like you who's double jabbed talking about it, which is
Yeah,
essential, right? But it's also essential for you to do something about the jabs because you've got to be
as possible.
pragmatic, right?
Oh no,
You've
I
got to be
completely agree.
pragmatic. I mean, all of this is in the mind, and the human being has the ability to heal everything and manifest everything, but we're nowhere near that yet, which is why I built a healing center with machines in like hyperbaric oxygen chambers and red light beds because people need to see these things go, oh, I go in there for 12 minutes, I come out better. Great. And that's a step. For me, it's spiritual work actually, because the manifestation of demonic energy in this world through things like alcohol and drugs and insecurities, they find the way in, and their job is simply to knock you off your
Yeah,
path. In an extreme sense sometimes, or a minor sense, and just stop you facing up to the reality that you are an incredibly powerful spiritual being that is immortal. And that's the key. Once you get that, then there's nothing to be afraid of.
yeah.
And once you've got that, then you've got to go through the process of letting go of the fear and the guilt and the shame and forgiveness. Forgiveness is the big thing. You've got to forgive yourself first. And a lot of us are carrying guilt about things. All of us actually are carrying guilt about things we've said or done in the past. There's nothing you can do about the past. It's gone. You just got to let it go, cut the cords, forgive yourself, forgive people who wronged you too. I mean, I'm having these decisions happening to me on a daily basis with people from my past, right? There are, I don't want to be
Mm.
specific about it, but like the other week, there was a big business situation where the old me would have gone, no, you owe me 10 times that much money. I just went, fuck it. Just do what
Mm.
you want to do. It doesn't matter. I don't care. And that's a beautiful place to be when you just let go of materialism. You just let go of that. Saying all that, you've got to be pragmatic at the same time. So it's like walking a tightrope between dimensions or densities, and on the one hand, you've got to keep progressing yourself spiritually. On the other hand, you've still got to pay the
Yeah.
bills. So there's this. That's what's so much fun, and then at the same time, if you can hold those two things at the same time, progress both of them at the same time, and try to enjoy the journey, then you're
Well,
winning.
you're right, and it is absolutely a balance. And as you said, you've still got to pay the bills, and you've still got a life to live. And this is one of the things that I'm really excited about with my journey. So I've spoken about it before, but just to give everybody who doesn't have the benefit of that knowledge, in a week and a half, I moved from where I am now in Morocco. We're moving to Portugal, and we're starting a community. We've got 2.5 hectares of land, and we still have jobs to do. I still want to do my show. I still need things like electricity. I need Starlink and all these things. My wife would be doing a hypnotherapy online. There are things from the modern day life that we do need. We need money, but we also want to be able to be uh, self-sufficient as much as we possibly can. We don't need to. We don't want to be in a situation where we're having to worry about paying for this and paying for that, paying rent and everything like that. So the whole place is going to be self-sufficient and sort of pay for itself in that manner. And I'm really looking forward to it. And am I going to be living in a caravan for the first 6 months before I built myself something else? Yes, I am. But I'm going to have loads of space outside. I'm going to connect with some amazing families. My kids are going to have everything that they need around them because they're going to have 12 other kids of different ages to come to play with, to grow up with. And, that for me, that's my balance. And if you'd asked me 5 years ago if I would run off to the hills of Portugal and go live in a caravan with my wife and my kids and my dogs, I'd tell you to fuck off. I'm in my pub. I've got a bottle of wine in
Yeah.
my hand. When I had that pub, I was literally a slave to Satan. I'll be honest with you. I easily drink
Yeah.
3 bottles of wine a night while working. I would in the past, I've done drugs, I've done cocaine, I've done it to get through the day. I've, thought, oh, this makes me confident. This makes me chatty. This makes me happy. And then as soon as I decided I can't do this pub anymore, it's killing me. And as soon as I stopped that, stopped drinking, stopped doing drugs, stopped everything, and then I had a really difficult year of literally, I don't know who I am anymore. Where's my confidence gone? All of
Mhm.
my life before was a complete lie because it was because of this and because of that. And it's when you then rebuild yourself up again, you actually realize that you're better, you're stronger, you're more confident than you ever were before. And everything before was just a lie. It was just Satan. It was the devil trying to drag you down to their level. And it's not always easy coming out the other side of it, but by God, when you do come out the other side of it, you do feel a million times better than you ever did before.
Yeah, which is wonderful, wonderful to hear. And I've had, the life you described, I've been there too, and been through all of that, and made horrific mistakes and decisions, and every time gone, that's not me. Why? This isn't who I really
Yeah,
am. I'm really nice, you know. And so, and you can just leave everybody to their own device. That's what I mean. It's a personal journey, and love conquers all.
yeah,
In your situation, you've got a beautiful family, and of course, you want the best for them. And same with me. I mean, everything. At the beginning of COVID, I was like, well, I've known about the New World Order for years. I've been trying to tell everybody about it for years, in person or on social media, but I've never done it on YouTube. And I had a fear of doing it on YouTube because I had a business, and the business was the thing that was keeping my kids in clothes and food. So there was a point where I was like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to do it because it's the right thing to do. And I've been looked after ever since. And fortunately, my children are growing up with an awareness of all of this stuff. And I feel like that's my biggest achievement
hmm
in life, because what they know now as teenagers compared to what I knew is light years ahead. And they're the ones who are going to build the future. So I'm like, very excited in that respect, and I applaud you for doing what you're doing, and it's going to be a great journey. And I hope you catalog it all, because people need to see and hear these things. Which is like the same with my healing center. I talk about that because I want to encourage people that you can do these things and you can make a difference in the world, and by building or taking steps towards building a future that we actually want, which is based upon the principles of love, family, connection to source, nature, connection to nature. I mean, I hope one of the key things for you is like be walking around barefoot because
yeah.
it's warm enough, and that will bring all of you connected to nature. And that lack of connection that we all have through the shoes, through the carpets, through the cars, through the lack of grounding in the buildings, through the lack of decent public spaces in cities that are connected to nature. All of these things are all by design. You know, there's a reason why cities look like silicon chips, zoomed in on, because they're energy harvesting centers, and even the roads are.
It's fu-
It's a wonderful journey to go back to where we're
it's
going to
funny
get
you say
back
that
to.
because I literally I cannot be in the city anymore. Never used to bother me
I
whatsoever.
can't.
But you slap me in the centre of London, I'll panic. I can literally
No, I'll freak
feel the
out.
energy. I can't even supermarkets, things like that, all the same. Can't be in them. Get me out. I feel
No,
poisoned
they
by the
make me
light.
ill. I can't listen. Yeah. Well, you are being
Yeah,
poisoned by the light.
exactly. But yeah, and since they
It's the
start
same as
bringing
the
in
TVs.
LED lights that flash at that frequency, I feel what it's doing to me, and I can't be in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the frequencies and disruption of frequency because it's once you see it, it's really obvious, you know. And there's really good frequencies that you can put them in. This has got red light lasers, cold lasers going in, doing good things at the right frequency. I've replaced most of the bulbs in the house with good frequency lights. Same as in the healing sense, we're building that out at the moment. We're spending an enormous amount of time thinking about how the water that comes in there has got to be structured and clean, how the lighting has to be clean and healthy. We're even embedding stuff into the paint to create a life force energy
Wow.
field within the place. You know, this is not complicated stuff. We're really just replicating nature, but people need that bridge. I mean, a lot of the work that I've done in the last 4 years has been about really bridging and holding my hand out over the bridge to people that are coming out and saying, well, is there another way, or am I alone? And the answer is no, you're not alone. You never have been. And yeah, there's lots of options, and not everybody has to get on YouTube and talk about this stuff. Some of us just like doing it. It's just part of our calling. Other people are doing amazing things with communal farms and new adventures like you're doing, trying to build different political systems. That the amount we now know about things like common and natural law, the truth about what is actually good for you to eat. The water is the
Yeah.
key to. I always come back to the water because we are water. Water has a consciousness, and we everybody that comes in the healing center, the first question is, what are you drinking? Second question is, what are you
Yeah.
washing in? And often they'll say, no, I don't drink any of the tap water. And I say, what do you
Yes,
wash
quite.
in? What do you mean? Well, that's your biggest organ. You might think you're avoiding it, and then you're going to go in the shower and filling yourself full of these poisons that are destroying your frequency. Because that's what it's all
Yeah.
about.
So your book that you wrote with Abby Wynn.
Which one?
Yeah,
Oh, that one. There's a lot
there
of books
is.
now. I've written a
No,
few.
I need to get your God Wins one. I want one of those, but sending it over here might be.
I know. I'll send you
Yeah,
one in Portugal. I'll bring it over. I'll come when you're in Portugal. We'll come over and I'll bring you a
yeah.
copy.
I'd love that. I'd absolutely love that. Have you got a copy?
I just happened to find this. This is the first book I was in. That's me.
It looks like a photo
Where
of
am I?
the monkeys. No pun intended. There we
Yeah, that's
go.
me there. That, that was 35 years ago. Fucking hell.
Wow. So your latest book.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the book with Abby.
Your latest book, all about spiritual warfare. How did you get round?
Shall I go and
Yeah,
get a
go on,
copy?
show it up to the screen. There
Weapons
we
of
go.
Mass Protection, practical tools for spiritual
I've heard
warfare.
that line over and over
Me and
again
Abby.
when I edited your advert.
Oh yes, you did. Yeah.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for that.
With the very talented voiceover of Tom Thompson, my ex-co-host. Um,
Yeah, no, brilliant job, Tom.
Sometimes
Thank
you
you.
need an American voice, don't you? I think the Americans think the
Well,
opposite.
they're the best. Americans are the only English people. We can't
No,
do
we can't.
voiceovers for
No,
trailers
no,
and stuff. It just
we
doesn't
sound like
sound right.
absolute twats.
Coming soon to a theatre near you, Jaws 4. It
Yeah,
just doesn't work.
what? Um, so, just tell us a little bit about your book. We're going to put a link to the book on the bottom of the screen here. So if anybody wants to buy the book, they can go and buy it. But you can also get a copy of it for free.
Well, I thought it was very important to just, say if you've got no money, get the book for free anyway. The ebook you can get, or you can get the audio book, the video, there's meditations, there's training. It's all there, but the offer that you're putting up is donation based, or you can go and buy the printed version on Amazon, which we decided to do just simply pragmatically because the people in Australia are buying it, and we don't want them to pay 50 quid postage to get it. What was the question?
So just tell us about the book, because it's practical tools for spiritual warfare. So, can you give somebody an example of what they're going to get from this book? What is a practical tool for spiritual warfare?
Well, protection. and understanding what it is that's attacking you are two of the main things of the book. It's structured in a way. I mean, it starts out by asking, "Are demons real?" and then goes through
I
a
like the
list
way
of
it's
things talking about
written,
God.
actually,
Why?
because it's like a conversation between you and Abby, which actually, I find I love reading it.
Well, thank you. But it was a structured conversation because I've been teaching people how to structure books for years. So we started with the structure and then had the conversation around the structure because it was really difficult for two people to write together. So I said, I think one of us said, I can't remember which one, let's just have a conversation, transcribe it, edit it then around the structure. So we go through, are demons real? Who are the good guys? What is Ascension? How do you know you've been attacked? How to identify your weaknesses, because that's what they do. What's in your head? What are you putting into your body? The armor of God, the weapons of mass protection. The weapons of mass protection themselves are spiritual protection techniques that me and Abby have gathered over the years. I mean, I started getting taught these by a guy called Jim about 15 years ago, who just appeared into my life out of nowhere, really. And he was a bit like Obi-Wan Kenobi to Luke Skywalker, and he was teaching me this stuff when I didn't really understand what he was talking about. But this, I've carried that with me, and it's been very, very useful because since we have been, all of us, the whole world's been demonically possessed, right? But during COVID, when I started speaking out, because it was in 2020, the level of attacks were just unbelievable, and just getting up each day was a struggle. I mean, there was one point where there was a demon on my back so heavy I had to crawl. I had to crawl up the stairs, and I had to face these things in my bedroom, in my house, in my head, and what's happened through. And I've been making thousands of shows over 4 years now, where a lot of this has been recorded, or at least I've spoken about it, which has given other people strength as well. And through that journey, I met Abby a couple of years ago, and she's a shamanic spiritual healer, and she said to me one day, "Look, people are really struggling with attacks and stuff, and we should help them." I said, "Well, okay, well, let's do it." She said, "Do you want to write a book with me?" I said, "Yeah, why not? Let's do it." And it has. I mean, judging by the reviews, has helped a lot of people so far. My reason for wanting to write this was, if more people can understand the nature of the spiritual war and then learn to protect themselves and therefore become stronger, then this war would be over
Yeah,
quicker. The reason it's continuing, I think, is because most people still have no idea what's actually happening, and then more fear is created, as we've discussed in this show. More loosh is created, and the demons get stronger and stronger. And the fight against them is a spiritual fight. It's not a physical fight. We've got to get that strength, go within, and then actually face them.
yeah,
Which is what I think a lot of us are doing, which is
yeah.
great.
Indeed, Mark.
Mm.
Thank you so much for your time today. It's been wonderful to speak to you again, and actually to spend more time talking about this side of what you do rather than talking about your UFO sightings and everything like that, which we spoke about on my last show.
Oh yeah,
If you
we
want
could
to
talk
see
about
that
that for hours.
episode,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can you can look at that past episode with Mark. But it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend. And I hope
No, it's pleasures. Yeah. Sorry, I'm talking over
no,
you.
it's all right.
Didn't mean
You
to
can
do that,
carry on. I'm
viewers.
used to it. It's fine.
But this happens a lot with me. I'm not being rude. It's just the thought
Go
comes.
for it.
What you're doing is great, and you're going to inspire hopefully millions of people with what you and your family are doing, and I'll support that 100% all the way. And I'll
Well,
come and see
I
you.
look
And
forward to seeing you out there. That's going to be great. And we are going to record it. We're actually starting recording bits and bobs in the background already now to put together the first episode, which will be released after, well, week after next once we get there. So it'll be our journey to get there and arriving there and everything like that. And that will feature on this channel as well. So it's all going on the same channel. So yeah, I invite all of you to join us.
And send me the link. Send me the link to. Send me. I know why there's a delay now. You can't actually hear me until 2 seconds later. Send me a link. That's why it's. I'm just telling the viewers. That's why it's not like a normal conversation, right? You know. No, good luck on Redacted. That's going to be a great way to launch your channel. I hope that
Yeah,
goes
I
well.
think I've got about 15, 20 minutes with them later on today. So I'm going to go away in a minute and make sure I do enough research so I don't sound like a complete and utter idiot to the entire world later on. But no, I'm looking forward to that. And also to talk to Montgomery Tom later on as well, because I'm really looking forward to that. It's good to see some youth rising up and fighting back to a lot of the bullshit in the world.
It's essential.
So yeah, it is indeed. There's only so much time we will have on this earth, and if we can pass some stuff on to the next generation, and the more of them, the better. Let's say that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure I will speak to you very soon. Take care, everybody. Make sure you hit like and subscribe and share this episode with all your weird and wonderful friends. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.